that point you made doesn't surprise me at all. I think it's across the board, the feeling with all these players, coaches, everybody involved in the building, completely new brush of fresh air and energizer on there. And it's going, that to me, as funny as it sounds, that's going to be the difference to me in winning some of these close battles that you might have lost if you just weren't.
You're going to get more out of your players because of the coach and the culture.
I know it sounds like kind of weird to say that, but sometimes when you're equal talent, small things like that are going to be the difference, because you got a little more energy, you pay a little sharper attention when you're in the film session, when you're in the classroom, when you're doing the walkthrough. It's those extra little bits of attention and work and stuff like that, when you have that extra energy, that in close battle games, when the talent is all equal and everything seems to be equal, those can be the things that tip the scale. And it's a beautiful thing to see in Green Bay after all these years, Dave.
Well, I mean, you go back and look. I remember a video that came out with Martellus Bennett, and he had a round table of tight ends. And Mercedes Lewis, this is right after, I believe it was the end of the year? I think it was, right after 18. And they asked him, well, what's the difference? Because Martellus Bennett goes, I was around McCarthy, and he goes, I get a lot of flack for the way I left Green Bay, but man, he just doesn't know how to use tight ends. And then Mercedes Lewis popped up. He was quiet the whole show, popped up on this right out of his chair, and he goes, yeah. He goes, we were underutilized. He goes, we had Jimmy Graham, Lance Kendricks, and myself in that locker room, and Robert Tonyan. We should have been running 3 or 4 tight end packages on the field with how much talent we had at times. I'm not, he said, he goes, it's silly with that kind of idea, but, I mean, look what they're doing now, Jay, though. They did 3 tight end packages in the Bears game, and it paid off.
Well, and when you got guys, and by the way, Mercedes Lewis, they mentioned it, looks about 15 pounds slimmer for his age, too. So he's
still just as strong.
Well, he's a little lighter on his feet, and he looked good still blocking. So what it does when you run these big these big sets with all these multiple tight ends, and they can also be pass catchers, you don't know what the hell they're doing on defense. If they run, well, now they've got extra big bodies that are going to be usually are more effective, blockers typically. Or now they can run play action. They can run the same. These guys are talented enough. They can still run little dig routes and all this shit. Your offense is very unpredictable in those type of sets, where it's really hard for defenses to match up with you if you can be successful and have the talent and have it all pan out and be consistent. So it really puts defenses in a bind, those type of formations.
Yeah, and what I'm expecting more, because we didn't see it a lot in the Bears game. We saw a little bit, but of the the play action and the double action, like you were mentioning last episode. I really think we're going to see a bunch more, because we're at home and LaFleur's going to want to open up the playbook and going ahead and kind of get this train rolling. I think we're going to see some reverses. I think we're going to see a couple fake reverse. You know how bad I want to see a flea flicker? I want to see one so bad.
It's been a long time. It would be nice if it was against a divisional opponent and was like
in our home stadium, and it's a big play.
Touchdown too, that would be nice.
Yeah, not even that. Even if it's like a 40 to 60 yard play, it just elevates everyone on the team. So I mean, I just like the fun stuff that this offense brings. It's really energetic, and the pep, like I said, the pep is there with even all the way down to the practice squad guys. They're excited. So yeah, and again, fans, I know I said this earlier in the show, but I want to say it again. If you're just joining us, please don't get overreacted by the Bakhtiari injury. It's just a day off. It's the same thing as Bulaga had. I mean, I'm sorry. If he was hurt that bad with his back, he wouldn't have been outside at team drill standing there in his sweat. He would have been
in getting treatment. That's the sign.
Bingo.
Right? Anybody that is on the verge of being maybe not able to play, especially if you're the premier left tackle that's coming off an
You'd be getting every treatment
season.
possible.
You'd be in there they'd be rubbing you down with every cream and acupuncture and every damn thing they could and putting you in cryo chambers. You would not be out there standing around watching the walkthroughs, okay? So that right there should give everybody a sign. And I know they write stories about it and it's their job, people, but it's like, take a breath. It's okay. The fact that they're able to take pictures should be your all telling that he's not really hurt. It's just rest.
And plus, if with a back injury, guys, I mean, I know Jason had injuries to his back, and I have 4 bulging discs in my lower back from when I was serving in the Army, and they're all in a row. They're L3, L4, L5, and they're S1 right at the top of my tailbone. So, like, I mean, with back injuries, you don't stand up. That's the thing. You don't stand outside and watch in team drills. What you do is you go ahead and you get your treatment done. Bulaga, whenever he had a day off, was out in those team drills wearing sweats. It's just a day off, guys. No reason to worry. The thing that kind of caught my eye, Jair Alexander was a full go yesterday. He ended up being limited and said he tweaked his knee a little bit. I'm really hoping he's okay. I think LaFleur's probably going to sit him for the next 2 days and not even let him put pressure on that.
I think this new staff is, again, I think when they're doing something and somebody tweaks anything, I think it becomes a big news story. But I think then this staff just goes, nope, we're not going to run you no more. You're done for the week. You can do walkthroughs. You're good. We just need you to perform. There's this, and really it has to go with, I want to be clear about this. The new era of football is formed because of the CBA. This could all change. This could all go. We have no idea with the next CBA what football and what the process is going to be, and there will be an adjustment period. We don't know if it's going to go even further with the way it's going, or if players, the younger voices, are saying, guys, it's hard for us to get into this league and develop any skills to make it past year 4 or to our second contract because we don't have enough time to actually develop the skills to become great. You know, because really when you look at it, this CBA is very veteran friendly. It's not friendly to the young guys that are trying to come in and learn skills because they don't get the same type of work they can get, and so it takes them longer to develop. So this team's doing a great job with, right now anyway, and I believe what their idea is, they're using the advantages of what they can and can't get done in practice and keeping guys healthy, because there's just really no need to have a guy running 7-on-7s when he's got a tweaked knee. I mean, what the hell is he accomplishing other than banging on a knee that's tweaked and prolonging the healing of that injury and taking a risk of making it worse? Let's be real about this. And so I think this entire season, guys, fans out there, we need to really curtail, unless you hear it's a major thing where they're like really, and you're really hearing about these players getting treatment. I think we need to just look at this as they're just not going to push guys.
This ain't the McCarthy regime anymore, guys.
Right. It's different. Completely.
You don't need to worry about injury reports.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a little speculation here. I mean, just to be clear and honest. But again, I'm making a speculation based on the information and the pattern I'm already seeing here. And this goes all the way back to OTAs and the preseason. We've got Kevin King, you've got Bulaga, you've got even Graham when he hurt his thumb and stuff, and they were making a big deal, and he looked
when he had extended his finger,
right, and his fingers looked fine. He was able to catch it and everything. So that's just my take, Dave. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, of course, we saw the preseason, we saw training camp when injuries. I mean, literally, Kevin King didn't say he tweaked a hammy. He said it was just a little tight, and they didn't play him for the rest of the time until week 1. He was off, 2.5, 3 weeks, all the way up till week 1. LaFleur doesn't want his best players getting the chance of re-aggravating something, because when an injury becomes re-aggravated, it becomes harder to heal. So that's why you always saw Cobb with nagging hamstring injuries, because he was always rushed back. I mean,
Same
it
thing
just
with
never.
Matthews had the same type of injuries.
I know. Oh, I definitely know. And that's the thing is my question to Andy the other night with the health and conditioning coach or the strength and conditioning coach. I'm sorry, folks. Another slip up. Tired Dave. So the strength and conditioning coach, the new one we hired, it just looks like there's different techniques we're also taking along with the coaching regime, and it's working. That's the thing. We're letting guys get healthy properly. Our coach is listening to our strength and conditioning coach because I feel like I watched injury reports all week where in the past with McCarthy and they did not practice at all. And next thing you know, they're playing, but they're still hurt. Like it never gave a chance to fully heal up on a lot of players we saw for Green Bay in the past 5 years. I mean, it's just really sad because imagine if Clay was given the extra month to get healthy. Say, okay, perfect example. 2012 when we played the 49ers, he had to sit out in the playoff game. He was hurt all the way up in those final weeks. We could have sat him for the final 3 weeks in that season, still won those games, and made the wild card enough to play the 49ers, but Clay would have been healthy. It's just that's part of the McCarthy decision system, and it just doesn't bode well for people. And guys, you can't say, "Oh yeah, he wasn't that bad of a coach." Guys, he's not hired right now. He is unemployed. He's claiming unemployment right now. There's no place that hired him. They came close to the Jets, but then they turncoated him the last second and went with Gase.
Here, you know what? Look, and I don't want to sound hot take-ish here, and that's not my intention, but you have to really honestly wonder. He was in line, and he had 2 interviews with the Jets, and it was being reported by everybody around, all of it. They were going to hire McCarthy. The Jets were. And then
it was everywhere. I remember that for 2 weeks.
Then remember what happened the day after that news, or later that day when they were talking that they were closing in on the deal with him, sort of thing. That was the hot candidate and this and that. Bakhtiari was on the radio, and then the whole thing about the
I remember the segment.
Rodgers, Adams, all those guys, the players, the players commune or whatever they called it, had went to Mark Murphy and had basically said his offense sucks. He doesn't do this right. And Bakhtiari came out and he said on the radio that he was allowing players to be late for meetings and do this and not punishing them, and it pissed him off, and he was sick and tired of it. The complacency and laziness. And McCarthy refuted all.
It was different standards for different people too,
right,
from what I was hearing.
Yeah, different treatment for different players. He even said things about him missing meetings and making. There was implications that he was missing meetings to get personal massages, which he all denied. But I actually believe it because I'm sure that at the time, he would come down and probably make jokes like, "Oh, I'm sore, guys. I was upstairs, had to get me a massage. Back was tight. What's going on in the meeting?" And I'm sure everybody laughed back then. But then when you're on the way out, well, now it's like, yeah, this shit was going on. So I completely believe that that stuff could have been happening. So I think that's more the reason why he didn't get hired. I think because it was like instantly after that. Boom! All of a sudden, they just hired out, and everybody was shocked, Dave. It wasn't just like it was. I mean, Adam Scheffler and Ian Rappaport and all those guys were like, "What? Wait a second! This came out of nowhere." I mean, they were all kind of like didn't understand what was going on. But I really think that's what happened. I think his own players coming out and saying what was going on there. It became a. Okay, not only is this guy's offense really not modern in how it operates and helps players, now we're getting a guy that we have to worry about getting fat cattish on us, because that's basically what that was. It was, we're successful. I don't need to work that hard. Aaron's got it. you got fat caddish, and I think that's what scared the Jets away ultimately. That's just my opinion, and I'm not trying to be hot takey. I'm just complete speculation, just going off of the few things and putting the puzzle piece